A teacher and a basketball coach in my junior high school knew that our family was going through some difficult times and some challenging times, and our father had left our home. And I was the oldest of several children, and he was my basketball coach and brought me into a basketball program that just happened to be at the Salvation Army. And then as I engaged with him in this basketball program, when the summer came along, he offered my first ever job, which was close to my home. And then we developed a relationship, and the relationship, and I learned many years later, was really built on the Salvation Army. As I got older, I had a strong relationship. He was really probably the best male role model in my life, and the relationship started at the Salvation Army. And years later, when I go out to graduate school and became a wage earner myself, I can remember my first United Way request, and I remember designated the Salvation Army just because I remembered what it had done for me as a kid. I was a very, very fortunate one that this man, through the Salvation Army's program, took me under his wing and became a male role model in my life when I needed one of the most in those young adolescent years. So I was very fortunate. Many years later, I was asked by this former basketball coach to speak, as I had been local kid done well, and I came back and I was coaching and teaching in the area at the collegiate level, and he asked me to come and speak to his daughter's basketball team, which is a church basketball team of 10-year-olds. So at the banquet after church on a Sunday afternoon, there was 8 10-year-olds and their parents, so there might have been 30 people. And I had been on a kind of a speaking engagement, if you will, doing some rounds and speaking before hundreds and maybe even up to 1,000 or a few thousand people. This was the most nervous I had been. It was the first time I'd spoken in front of him, and barely got through the speech because it came during the time I was prepping, and then when I was actually delivering the speech, I understood about what that relationship meant to me, and was very emotional for me until the point of time that we embraced afterwards, and was very emotional. 2 years ago, my grandmother had passed away, and many, many people from our community came to pay their respects to our family. The same man came by, because he was a teacher in the school. My grandmother was the head of the cafeteria, so he had a relationship with her. But it was very interesting. It has been probably 10 years since I've seen him, since we've moved to York. And the same emotions came up to me like I was 12 years old again. And it was a long-term relationship, even though there's been some time that had separated us. We both understood what his investment in me meant to me, and what hopefully my reinvestment in others have meant to others, since he was a good role model for myself.